Welcome to a new spirit that will warm your heart. Welcome to a new spirit. Every day's a brand new start. Where encouraging words can heal your soul and dreams will be renewed. Welcome to a new spirit, a new spirit in you.
Time is like Finding Nemo. Welcome to the New Spirit Radio Show by the Society of Novus Spiritus, founded by world-renowned spiritual teacher Sylvia Browne. Today's date, I wrote it as August 31st of 2022. Coming to you live from California, both NorCal and SoCal are your hosts, Reverend Tom Bigley and MIT Catherine Taylor, playing audio segments we call Messages from Spirit. Why? Answering the ultimate question, why are we here and what is our purpose?
These segments are recorded trance sessions from Francine, Sylvia's spirit guide. For new people, Sylvia was a full trance medium, which means Sylvia contracted to let her and Francine's essences exchange places in Sylvia's body. And we think of our bodies being similar to a car. One driver gets out and another driver gets in. This allowed Francine to share spiritual knowledge with us directly from the other side.
On occasion, another master teacher and healer, a guide named Rahim, would exchange with Sylvia and present us with spiritual information as well. Francine and Rahim shared directly from sources like the Akashic Records, Mother and Father God, our spirit guides, Christ, and many others.
And meanwhile, during trance, Sylvia would sit on a nice bench in a rose garden on the other side.
And here are our hosts, MIT Catherine Taylor and Reverend Tom Bigley, and a buddy.
And a buddy. Here he is. Floofy came over.
Let's see. A quick for new people that are new listening to this, regardless of if you're listening live or on demand. A quick agenda. How we like to talk about how did you use Novus philosophy? You can share that in the announcements. No, in the comments. We'll talk a little bit about announcements if I remember to read it. Plus, we have special prayers and a moment of silence. Later, we will share the trance segments that everybody participates and enjoys. Then we share meditation. We have some closing notes. Watch for the novena. It's a special prayer ceremony that we have later on in the program. And let's see. I talk about some appreciation, and we conclude with a prayer by Sylvia. Man, I'm glad I've written this down here. But somewhere in here. Yay, it works. Let's see. So we like to start out with, how did you use Novus philosophy last week? So I like to offer a cat. You can either choose or we can do rock, scissors, paper.
I would love to hear what you used of Novus philosophy.
All right.
Thank
and
you.
I've even created a special place for this to show up, so I'm not like staring off into space reading here. Let's see. Where we go? Hey, what happened to how did you? Oh, that is how we do that. No wonder I skipped that last time. Okay, anyway, Novus philosophy. Somebody asked, can you please provide which book that tells us how to make holy water? So we spoke about it, and I don't have it off the top of my head.
I can try to find it.
Okay, that would be a fun thing. Or if someone that's listening live right now could post in the comments if they happen to remember, that'd be a fun thing. Basically, because I wrote back to the person, basically. Holy water you can make for yourself. You just get a container, preferably, I think of it as preferably a clear container, like glass or something. Fill it with water, put it out in the sunlight for 3 hours, and for every hour, find something symbolic like a cross and make a cross symbol over it and give it a blessing. So every hour on the hour, give it a blessing. And then you've got it. But yes, it is posted in the books somewhere, and I've yet to recall, because I don't have the books in front of me, or the anyway. So that's first part. And while you're thinking about that, the other fun thing I wanted to bring up was I don't know if many people are familiar with the History Channel, but there's a program called Ancient Aliens that's been on for, I don't know, over 10 years.
Yes.
So they've had this long running series, and how do you say, they've created they've recreated, seems like new material. They're making new segments, episodes, and this one particular one, it's like a special, and it's called Ancient Aliens Declassified, and it looks like they invited William Shatner to meet ancient aliens, the 6 or so researchers that are involved, with giving information on the show. Fun show. I enjoyed it. It was fun. Questioning, of course, it's all formatted and produced, and they got to ask questions and so on. But a lot of the information was fun to hear about and recall, especially for me, the gentleman that wrote the book, was it Chariots of the Gods? I think it was. Yes, like 30 some or more years ago. A really fun book talking about, ancient artifacts that are around the planet, and like the big. If you go up in the sky, you see these big, how do you say, sketched out drawings on the ground that represent different things, and his research behind it. Well, he's still doing research apparently, but the whole group has input on questions about do aliens actually exist, and what are all the historic information. But that was a lot of fun. I encourage you to go listen to that and hear their conclusions and some of the fun information that they provide. With William Shatner sort of being the skeptic and what's the right word? Reporter. Thank you. That's the right word. A skeptic reporter. So that was fun to watch.
Fascinating. I have always meant to actually watch that show just because I think it is fascinating, even though I know that one of the folks that appears on that show gets memed on a lot in the internet, just because he's so excited about aliens. But that's perfectly okay with me.
He's providing help. He's providing interesting information that has the potential to be true. I like what he's showing, and I agree with the things that he's saying when you combine it with a lot of other the facts that people are providing.
Do you remember if they ever talk about the crystal skulls that are out there?
Not on that particular special with William Shatner.
Okay.
But yes, they have spoken about those in the past. There's, they've got their speculations of how, where those have come from.
Yeah, I met somebody who got to like work with one of those crystal skulls in person.
Oh, really?
And he said that it was impossible for like ancient tools to have made it because of the way that the cut is against the grain of the crystal.
Yeah.
So it's really, really fascinating. But he said, it would have been impossible with the tools that were, available at the time of ancient.
What we think that they had in their hands.
Yeah, exactly.
And think of the polish too.
Yeah, it's fascinating. So Francine talked about the skulls, and she said that aliens did indeed create them. And if you ever have the chance to interact with one of them, even to be in the same room, please do so, because they do have a very, very powerful energy that is really good for healing. And she also said that the reason why they're skulls specifically is because it's to make a point that they were trying to make a point, like the creators of these artifacts were trying to make a point that, that mankind is the same underneath our skin.
Oh.
We're the same. And
Yeah.
it's the same message that those oh gosh, I'm gonna mispronounce this. Maui's sculptures,
Okay.
the stone faces on Easter Island.
Oh, those. Yeah. Okay. That sounds close.
Yeah, my apologies. I can't remember how to pronounce them, but it's the same thing. It's like mankind is the same when it comes down to it, like being on the inside. And so that was the message that that's why they're skulls.
Ah,
It's meant to be
interesting.
scary. It's supposed to say like we're the same on the inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting. Fun point. I missed that. I like that.
Yeah. It's interesting. So we've got Moai is the pronunciation, says Gibson. Thank you. Much appreciated. Where are they? Says Kristen. I'm not sure where they're at. Some of them are thought to be like, some might be forgeries, but there's a collection of them, and and people have found them in different places. Like I think one person found like a farmer in Mexico found one in a local cave. So they've been found in different places throughout the world. So I'm not sure where they're located, but certainly very interesting. A lot of people are commenting saying that they also love listening to Ancient Aliens. That's really cool. It's just interesting. It's so cool to see what kind of mysteries are out there. Sherry says that what she used of Novus was she prayed for her daughter, but she didn't get it, but it was probably due to her chart. That definitely can happen. Definitely. Naomi says that she listened to archived New Spirit radio shows. Very cool. Very cool. And a lot of people are saying hello. So hello, right on back to you. Send you tons of blessings and are excited that you're here.
Great. Appreciate all the highs and hellos, and we're high and hollowing to everybody.
Mm-hmm. And Alyssa, what skulls? Alyssa's saying, what skulls are you speaking of? Sorry, I just came into the chat right now. So we're talking about these things called crystal skulls, which are ancient alien artifacts that have been found like in a couple different places of the world. They're really interesting. And so Francine was just saying that if you have the chance to see one or to hold one, you definitely should.
They're crystal. They're like a solid crystal, but they're for lack of a better term, they're carved in the shape of a skull, a human skull.
Human skull, yeah. And
so, but think of it as a solid crystal. That's what makes it unique. And if you get a chance, look into it. Whether there's probably several documentaries about it that you could look into or research.
Mm-hmm. Few other comments. Gibson says, I just got a company to provide doors and windows at a cost that I asked for. That's awesome. I'm so happy that you were able to get that. Prayers are answered there. Melissa says, 3 days ago, Kat helped me to believe my mother is being guided by Mother God and Father God, and that she is in a beautiful garden with her birds flying free around her. Melissa's mother passed away a couple days ago.
Sorry to hear that.
So, yeah. Sending you tons of love, my darling.
Yeah. Give yourself time. When you read in the journey books that the grieving process is about. It's either 2 or 3 years. It starts out harsh, but remember, it does subside over time. It's just take one day at a time.
Yeah, take one day at a time. Absolutely. Sometimes it's 1 hour at a time, and sometimes it's 1 minute at a time. But we'll keep chatting. Within Four says, I finished the novitiate exams this week. Congratulations.
Yay! Good for you. Because
Woo!
today's
Are
the
you-
31st. Everything is what's supposed to be due or something like that.
Oh, yeah, for minister training. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Looking forward to this so much. All right. And tons of people are saying congrats to Within Four. So awesome. Awesome. All right. So I suppose I'll share what I used in Novus philosophy. I tried
Please.
out I did a number of things, so I'll just pick one or two, I suppose. So I tried out Rahim's suggestion of using like green tea every day, drinking green tea every day. And man, I noticed a big improvement in my mood being more level, which is interesting. Like anxiety, not having like these huge, awful peaks. So that is really nice. So I'm not sure what all of the perks are, but I do notice that has been a consistent change. So that's different and interesting, and I'll take it. So I'm just.
Man, that makes me motivated. I gotta go get a box of green tea. Our big box store sells a big box of green tea, and I've
Nice.
just tried to avoid it mainly because it's like I just wanted something simple and my tea. Anyway, I don't want to disrupt yours, but I gotta go find a box of green tea.
Yeah. So I've switched from. I'm only drinking coffee just like a couple times a week now, like once or twice. But after like a month of this recommendation that he mentioned, I've noticed a big change. So I'm like, all right, I'll take it. I also did a meditation last night that I thought was really interesting. So on the other side, we've been told that when you get through the tunnel and you arrive at the field, that's there right in front of the steps to the Hall of Wisdom, and Halls of Justice. There's a other side temple that's off, like on the right, I think, that is a place where healers are, and there are people who have like committed to just being dedicated healers. And so I've meditated there a couple times. So I tried that meditation last night, and I went to it, and I went through it as I was going to sleep, and I noticed some interesting things. Like they were making, like I was visualizing like healers making like geometric patterns like above my. Just thought that was interesting, and like they would settle into my body, and they did one of them, and then right after that, I got such strong vertigo that I couldn't tell which way was up. It was really interesting.
Wow.
Even though I was laying in bed and just like comfortable, I was like, I just got hit with this vertigo that was super, super strong. So I was like, okay, they're actually doing some work, which is really interesting. So just thought I would share.
Fun.
So
let's see. What else? All right. Some quick announcements. Let's see. We got that. I had some share promote. Oh yeah. A reminder, if you would share, promote, like, subscribe, click on the bell, donate. The more subscribers we get, the more features we can utilize and help people out.
YouTube,
also,
yes, please.
Curious on listeners, whether it's live or on demand, if you don't mind, or if our intro is kind of annoying, or not, maybe you like it. I just because when we go live, we have no announcement ahead of time. We don't have enough subscribers that we can put a post, and on occasion we don't show up. So I put that intro out there to give people a chance to be notified and not miss the very beginning. And so that's the reason I put it there, so people would catch it, and if they know we're coming on, but give them a chance to log in, get on, and not miss the beginning. So anyway, that's why I put it on. I'm just curious if people don't care or don't want it or do like it. Fun to hear and what you think. Also, I had Reverend Ellen Schloss made a fun point that I like totally forgot about. She says, so in trance, when we had trance sessions, Francine would always have a pillow on her abdomen, and she would rest her hands on it. And the reason for that was, you may hear this on occasion or other times when someone asks in the trance sessions, but the reason was when she comes into Sylvia's body, her cell memory has recall of when in her single lifetime when she was what is it, stabbed by a spear, and so that pain is a recollection for her when she comes into Sylvia's body, and so that pillow helps eliminate that or reduce that. And so she always has a pillow for 99% of the time that I recall. She's had a pillow. And Rahim, when Rahim comes in, Rahim doesn't have a pillow. Well, and sometimes he'll sit up and he's a little more animated than Francine. So on the intro, you may notice when it shows Kat and I, and then it shows the pictures I chose for Rahim and Francine. Well, actually, they're kind of sort of reversed in a sense because Ellen pointed out that Rahim has a pillow in his lap and Francine doesn't. Or the way I labeled it. So, just so you're all aware, for fun, I just trivia note that Francine would usually have a pillow on her lap, on her abdomen, and yes, that's in the video or on pictures, and Rahim would not. So anyway, fun clarification. One of these days, I'll get a chance to flip those images around, and then I have to choose some other images for. Anyway, that's another fun story. But just keep that in mind when you see these, images with the pillows. I'm not identifying who is who isn't. Look at the label. Read the label.
That's great.
That's the key original point. But over time, I'll get some help and get someone to readjust those images so it does better reflect our. Anyway, what's going on there? But a fun point. I'm appreciate Ellen bringing that up. It like totally lost, got lost in the fun here. Also, I had a message from people about worried about Blog Talk Radio, the archives being eliminated, and yes, over time we need to shut down Blog Talk Radio because it's not. Anyway, we just need to do it. But there are people trying to get recordings taken care of or record those things and have them for themselves. Great, that's fine to do. However, I think if you're spending money to record these archives, I think save the money. In my opinion, the better bet would be is when we get these archives back available, there's going to be a small subscription to get access to them. And I think
we're just going to transfer them. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, it'll be just like Blog Talk Radio. They'll go to some place that you'll have access to for a small subscription, and that's just to cover costs and make it available to everyone. I think that would be a better bet with your spending money, in my opinion. So just some food for thought, and I don't want people frantic and worried about them. It'll be sometime in the near future when we get those archives back available for people to go back. In the meantime, we've got what we've done here, that we have not removed anything yet from Facebook or YouTube. So work in progress.
Yeah.
And your donations and future subscriptions are going to help create and maintain that archive system for future listening and review.
Yeah, we want to make sure that the information is available to everybody. So it's never going to be like everything is going to be behind a paywall. Like our weekly show is still going to be here, still going to be free. And like if you miss things, that's okay. It's just eventually like shows will be moved over into that archives, and so it's that way. It's just there's a balance because do need to pay for a few things in order to make things available. Yeah,
exactly. It costs money to make these available, so
Yeah.
Want to make sure this stays viable and helps everyone, make it available. So let's see, we've done that. I said that. Oh, got it. Okay. I think I got what I needed.
All
Out.
right.
So
All right.
then we have special prayers. So for those of you that are, well, regardless whether it's live or on demand, that you're with us here, we're going to have a moment of silence, and everyone is helpful to participate in the moment of silence. We're going to include everyone that is in need. If you think of something that someone needs some special help, visualize what that outcome is, what you think is going to be beneficial for them. And of course, we'll always ask, for the greater good. There are times we ask for things, and if they don't happen, great. What's the positive that came out of that? That's what we look for. So let's take a moment of silence, and we'll put our energy out, ask Mother God, the archetypes, and everybody that is capable of helping us out, put that energy out and help those who are in need. So amen.
Amen.
And of course, if you've got a prayer you'd like to put in, you can go to the website. There's the prayer chain on the website, and of course, be the prayer. If you see a need, fill it. And we do appreciate people that are calling in on the conference call. Yeah, if you call in on the conference call, you can hear our funny conversations before the show and our panicness getting ready. But
Accurate.
yeah, if you've got while we are live on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Pacific time, if you've got challenges with streaming or you're driving, you want to listen in, we have a conference number that you can call in and listen while we're live. So that number is 888-534-2696. And we do appreciate when you stay muted so that everybody else listening has a wonderful trance as well. Now we've got trance segments.
All right. Exciting. Okay. So we are picking up with Francine. Francine was was talking about, what it's like to be a spirit guide. And so we're going to hear the course of this conversation today. So she's going to talk first about some activities of spirit guides. And that's going to lead into an explanation of time, which is fascinating. And time is like watching a fish in an ocean. And 98% of our stress is related to time. And lifetimes help us peel away layers so that we can become pure spirit.
Right. And this is the only place that we can do those things.
Yeah. Exciting.
Ready?
All right.
Here we go.
So how long were you involved in these two activities? And I don't know what reference we can make.
I don't know either.
How about this one? Sylvia gets up at around 7 a.m. our time. Where were you when she got up at 7 a.m.?
I was in a lecture.
You're at a lecture. Okay, when did you next come back and visit Sylvia? After the lecture?
I was with her at the lecture.
Now I'm out of here.
All the time.
Okay.
No matter where she is, she's with her.
What were you doing when Sylvia's having lunch?
When Sylvia was having lunch today, I was in the garden.
So how much did you do between her waking and the garden?
I'm trying to get it.
I'm trying to get it sensitive.
It all blended. It all blended. It was all very quickly to me. Your time is very quick to us.
Is it? Yeah, that's true. And it's usually slow for us.
No, you see, 80 years in your time is like weeks to us. So it's the only thing that helps we guide is the fact that we're more slowed down. Otherwise, we would blink and you would be.
Now, you have said before, you still have clocks, beautiful artwork clocks.
But they
no
don't
hands.
mean anything.
But they don't
No,
have
they don't have
hands.
hands.
Okay. I would think guides could have a watch, you know, and
Because you see, you want to time bind us, and we cannot be. Because you're talking about a time that goes forever. Your time does not. And you have a season, and you have a time, and you get old, and you die, and we don't. And time takes its toll on you, and we don't have that. Yes.
Well, when you're talking about time, now realizing we're time bound and you're not time bound. So in other words, when you're tracking us, you're not looking at it as time and space as being two separate items, but one item, and so you're just kind of tracking a point on a fabric.
That's right.
And that fabric not only has our dimensions, but your dimensional, so that you don't have a time. You're just picking a point on a
We're
fabric.
just watching a fish in a big ocean, that's all.
So you're
and you
just
don't really
reaching
know
in-
what the point of the ocean is. You
Right.
don't have any place to.
So you're just stepping in, and due to the fact that you're tuned into us and you keep us
Yeah.
chronologically in time.
Yes. That's the only way. We track within your time framework, but it means nothing to us.
So all the dimensions then are just like this huge fabric it's all
It's a
interwoven,
tapestry.
and that we have all these little points of time that are
Yes,
happening,
Exactly.
or space, or not time and space, but
That's
something.
right. That's why
They're
we
just a little
really,
point.
really went into this
God's now.
astrophysics today, because the cosmology of your time is to us quite ridiculous. Although we've lived it, most of us, the guys, have been in your life. But we find it to be amazingly archaic, and yet we know that it has to be.
So the only thing that in our time that has slowed light to the speed that we think it is our restricted minds, and in reality, it's instantaneous.
Yes.
It's
And the only way we can do that is becoming somewhat humanized, I guess you might say, for lack of a better word, so that we get into your time framework, or else we would not care.
So you almost have to isolate yourself from your own dimensional perspective to get into ours, so you can view.
Absolutely.
Yes.
We have to descend into it. Yes.
It almost seems as though on your side that you have a chart in that you have all these things that you know you want to study and you want to research, and then you just do it, not as opposed to our side where, at least speaking personally, I go, okay, I'm this age, what am I supposed
That's
to learn?
right.
What am I?
And oh my God, have I missed it? And oh my God, am I too old for school? And oh my God, do I want to start a family? And how much time do I have for that? And how much time do I have before I retire? And it's your time is your stress, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's so stressful.
I get this sense of total, almost like floating, just being able to float into, I don't know, just this ability to be able to just know what you're going to be doing and researching, and there's
And
no
if
worry.
you had time removed from you, I promise you, you would have 98% of your stress taken away.
Realizing that we're all interwoven like we are, could you address for me the fact of interdimensional causation? Like, how much does the negativity on this plane affect your plane, or how much does the positive energy on your plane actually interplay?
Our positive energy on our plane infringes on you tremendously. The negativity of your plane does not bother us. The only way it bothers us is if it bothers the people we're guiding. That bothers.
So it's almost like the negativity is self-contained within this dimensional
in
element.
this dimension, it doesn't seep
cutout.
into us at all.
And
We've also, as guides, had to almost go into a not a cleansing chamber, but I myself, at points when Sylvia was going through so much emotion or pain, I'd almost have to go through a period of almost so that I didn't get the bends.
Aura cleansing, if you will.
well, is it true then that, I'm sorry, Larry, just
Sorry.
one more short thing, that when we think in numerical sequences here and we think about the dimensional overlays, we get into the negative numbers because of the way we think.
Yes.
But in reality, we're going into the positive numbers, And the negative, so the
That's
causation,
reflection.
so the equation that came across is actually inverted from what I thought of.
Exactly.
So it's actually the other way around.
Exactly the other way around. It's almost a reverse of reflection.
I see. Okay.
Yes.
I have two questions. The first one was you were talking about when you look here, things seem kind of primitive.
Mm-hmm.
Does that how come sometimes I know it happens to me that every once in a while I'll see a structure or something and it'll hit me that it's really unusually primitive. Is that coming through from the other guides talking and
Memory resonance.
memory resonance?
Yeah.
My other question kind of relates to that. When I read the journey books and it talks about us being a spark of the divine, and then there was, and I don't remember which book it was in, about when we're about 2 years old, this veil of ignorance comes on us, or forgetfulness.
Forgetfulness.
And so the perfection scheme, rather than this ongoing traumatization, is it more like you go through this hard time where you struggle against peeling away that forgetfulness?
Yeah, yeah.
So then we remember. I'm trying to understand that.
All right. Let me explain it to you like this. You've been trained on our side to be, for lack of a better word, a guerrilla warfare. You have been trained to come down to the dark shadowlands, which is the world. You've been helped by counsel. You've been talked to by guides. And that's all in the morphic resonance of your being. But part of that is that we know, just like in school, that you're going to forget that. So we have to almost put it in your limbic brain as the instinctual knowledge to survive. That's why it's so harsh to commit suicide, because that's defined instinctual. Let's say a moving rhetoric to complete it from God. When you get down here, we tell you it's almost like you will be brainwashed by the world, but something within your soul will rise up. And the more spiritual you rise up again, the more things will be made known to you. And each time you come, things will be made known clear. Don't you see what that is? That's stripping away all the worldly things of this world so that you become pure spirit again. But the only way you can become pure spirit is to come down into the shadowlands. And each time there's a layer that's peeled away until you become pure spirit. And that's what everyone is aspiring to.
So that's some really helpful basics of why we're here, and reiterating what I've heard of. We have this. We come in with this overlay, and it's here where we learn how to scrub it off, as it were.
Yeah, exactly.
Just as I noted at the beginning. So same similar thing. I mentioned earlier, Francine, when she comes into Sylvia's body, that morphic resonance comes back for her of when she was speared in her life, and so she's not coming back to and chooses not to come back to, how do you say, scrub that off, wipe that off, whereas we're coming back and working out what we've garnered, the things that we've absorbed, and looking at polishing that off to be our pure self.
Yeah, because it's in the rejection of those overlays that you really start to grow. You have to have something thrown at you, and then you have to figure out how to get it off.
Yeah.
And then you can really shine. Yeah.
That's the adversity, on this planet. That's the adversity that's handed to you, and this is where we learn through our adversity, our life lessons.
Yeah. Let's see here. I thought it was fascinating as I was listening to this, I kind of got some insight into people that I think get classified. Some people, not everybody. Some people are legitimately lazy, but I was thinking about like some of the people that you think of as being like lazy because they just don't do things. But it's like, I think that first, like there might be like a subset of those folks who are trying to resist, like they're trying to like hold on to the, like do anything whenever you want because you're so used to it on the other side. And so like if 98% of our stress is related to time, I can see how some people push back on that in different ways. Whereas other folks like are just very, very much like caught up in that rat race.
Yes. I can see all the different, see all those
variations.
different angles.
Yeah. So if this doesn't make sense to you, this explanation of time, because it sounds so odd, think of it as being like they have access to other dimensions that we don't. Like we've got time. Time for us moves in a linear dimension, like moves in one direction, and that is it. That is our concept. But
which is an illusion.
Which is an illusion because Francine said, like, she's going to keep explaining more and more aspects to this. And so, if it doesn't make sense to you, don't feel bad. But
it's a hard one for her to explain without having any kind of, physical example, a picture. But when you mentioned that, I was just watching somebody trying to explain, so because to my recollection, it's similar to, and part of it's similar to explaining how we don't have gravity so much as the fabric. She did talk about fabric. Well, many people talk about if you were to stretch a piece of fabric out and then you place, for example, in our solar system, you have the sun. You place the sun in the middle of the fabric. What's it going to do? It's going to create an impression, a round impression in that fabric. So it's going to be stretch. You're stretching that time. And so, no, that doesn't paint a picture because we still think linear. But, give it time. And there's fun things to watch on YouTube for one thing, but other documentaries that they do explain, what like physicists, is that the right word? Astrophysicists use to explain, dimensions, time, gravity, Einstein's theory and how that actually, we can affect it, or how, just our position near each other, physical, like the sun and the moon and the earth and so on, how they physically affect each other, and our time differences, which we do have. So some fun things to delve into, but she's trying to explain it, by words. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
So, I think you'll get it over time. I still, I haven't got a clear, defined picture because, I'm still here with you guys in this, linear thought frame, as it were. But I understand, things operate differently, and I just accept the idea that, even we'll hear more about how time is like a record. Even our time, our Akashic records is like an LP, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Fun side fact, because I'm looking at the comments. Alyssa asked, she says, I think I heard somewhere that in space you age slower because of the no gravity. Yes, that is my understanding as well. Francine was talking about this, and she was like years ago, and she was talking about wormholes, and that extraterrestrials will use them to get from one part
to there.
here to there quickly. And so she said that if you were to go from Earth to Andromeda through the whatever wormhole that is, she said that you would arrive on the other side like years younger, like 4 years younger or something like that. And everyone in the room, I think Larry was laughing. He's like, sign me up. And she said, well, when you come back, you'll be right back to your same age, 4 years older. So, so there's some fascinating things that can happen in our current like life dimension too, with time, that we don't on our planet understand yet.
Mm-hmm.
So it is really, really fascinating. And we'll keep
Absorbing what we can and see if it makes sense. And
exactly.
when we get to the other side, we'll get a chance to, get a better sense of it.
Yeah. Alyssa says, is the wormhole a portal? Kind of. It's she described it as being a highway.
Yeah.
Like a shortcut highway through space. So you know how you get on the interstate to get somewhere super fast? That's how she explained it.
Because it goes above and around and doesn't go through the town and through all the stoplights. Yeah.
Right. So some other comments we have. Ramona's saying, oh, to be timeless again someday. Absolutely true. Denise said, sounds like a roller coaster ride. Yeah.
We'll find out when we...
Mm-hmm. And George says circles within circles. So yeah, everyone's thinking about this in different ways that's starting to make sense to them. Absolutely. Melissa says, does Sylvia's books available on audio? I think she has some of them on audio, right?
Couple of them. She had actually read the audio for them.
Oh,
yes.
That's special.
I don't know off the top of my head, but I know if you go to Audible, I believe there are still some available that you can go listen to.
Awesome. Okay, and Alyssa says, instead of taking a spaceship, which takes long, my husband just peeked in here. He's like, you're talking about spaceships? Hi, honey. Instead of taking a spaceship, which takes longer, imagine how much quicker they would have gotten to the moon. Yeah, that's true. Oh, man. George says, humans lost the ability to travel to other places through space thousands of years ago. That's what we've been kind of told.
Yeah,
that we lost the ability to use the Bermuda Triangle.
Somewhere in the United States, there's still like a portal, as it were.
Yeah, Nebraska, I think it is. A cornfield.
I was going to say Kansas or something like that. Yes,
Kansas, yeah.
And humans have gotten stuck in them. And not know how to get out. So, anyway, interesting. Fun facts.
Mm-hmm. Okay, shall we go on to the next segment?
Sure.
Keep listening to this interesting explanation. Okay, so... All right, so Francine is going to continue. Since time is a circle, you can will a lecture to come back around. Being a holy man living in seclusion is a waste of a life. Someone, and then a description of what happens when someone gets what they call the great gulp of knowledge.
Biting off more than you can chew, maybe.
Great gulp of knowledge. All right.
Oh, that's it. Okay, here we go.
Yes.
In Journey class, we talked about time, and we've been battling with trying to explain it because all of our words are even time-based. Everything we say relates to either yourself.
It because the minute you say, but wait a minute, you have already lost it. So if you look, I know it's very difficult, but if you look at a circle and don't see yourself in the circle, but pull yourself out of the circle, and then look back at the circle and say, that is the now. We're all in the now. And the now only means, it's not that esoteric, means that if there's no time, then it is now. To try and understand a time from a timelessness is impossible. Except that it always rotates, it always is there. There is always enough lateral movement to get everything done that you want. Because if you say there's enough time to get everything done that you want, then you've lost it again.
And my other question was, on the other side, if you ever get into discussions about our time and versus your perception of time, how do you have to like telepathically tell a person, kind of explain
We
it
have
without having to
used,
use
strangely enough, with all your computerized, as we have many, and some of you that are computer literate, as Sylvia said, you would be amazed at the material that we have as far as our electronic. We're very, very accelerated in all electronic, because we're all electrical. But still in all, the best way to measure the mathematics of time is still the abacus. The abacus is probably the most valid, because time is very simplistic when you look at it in your life, except your calendar is all off, but that's neither here nor there, because the calendar is flawed terribly. I mean, the leap year is a joke. I mean, you miss out on all these minutes and hours, and all of a sudden you have to tack on a day every 4 years. It's ridiculous.
And we have leap second adjustments now.
Oh, absolutely. And you think over a period of even 100 years,
That's what Pope.
yes.
You said that if you missed the lecture, that you would catch it when it came back. So that if you said it's a big circle and then it would repeat. In our time, can you say how long that would be?
Oh, you're trying to sucker punch.
We
Fran.
just, no, we would just know that whenever we wanted it to be, it would be available.
Now, is it?
When just one person wanted it to be?
Oh, yes, because you see, time going on a circle, you could pick it up.
Let me ask you this,
Oh.
Francine.
Francine, to clarify that for me, and hopefully you.
What I heard you to say was implying we'll just get Joe to redo the lecture.
No,
Oh,
I did
man.
not say that. I never once said
No, you didn't say
I said we
I know
could
what
pick
you
it up.
did. You said you could pick it up again because it's like on a big record.
If you are in a regression, let's say right now I put Roger under. Roger is in this room, but Roger also is in a state of mind travel. And so his mind travels back to when he was let's say, a Greek. And he's living a life as a Greek. And then I take him to a place in which he was part of the Ottoman Empire, and then to a place in which he was a prime minister, and another place in which he was a doctor. All of those would be in a short period of time, even though it's time now on your place. He would be living lifetime in an hour. And yet he's still balanced on this, but his needle is moving. And any time, Roger can go back up and pick that life up.
Yeah.
Because the mind, the soul is fluid moving. And yet, isn't he still stationary in this room?
Mm-hmm.
So basically what it is then, take the word time out of it and say sequences that are not relevant to a direction of flow.
That's right.
Cool. Anyway, anywhere, anytime.
And I think
step across.
Sylvia's record was probably a genius thing, because she said it is the needle that's on the record that keeps moving from groove to groove, and yet it's the same record.
Right. And CDs, that's harder. Could I ask?
No, there's proof.
From pit to pit. Okay, now. You're standing on the other side. You missed the lecture. Darn. Whoa, it'll come around again. Where do you go for this to happen? Is it like a big turning?
For lack of a better, all right, I can jump a groove, or if you want to make it very simplistic, let's say, hypothetically, I can walk backwards.
Would it be akin to, say, dipping into Akashic records?
It's always there. Isn't Roger's life always there? Isn't he always living as a centurion or a
More like the prime minister.
no, he's a prime minister. Or couldn't he still be the doctor? As real as he feels his life is now, depending on what depth we can put him under to.
I know, but I'm trying to equate a physical motion to the
No,
mind change.
physical motion. You're talking about soul motion.
True.
You're in a physical body that needs glasses. You have to go to the bathroom. You have to eat. You have to put on clothes. You have to bathe. You have 1,000 time limiting things.
The reason that's very poignant is because we define time, oddly enough, as a change of motion. That's what we call that atomic clock. So yes, you're right. We're physical. We base time on motion, physical movement. You don't base time on physical movement.
If a holy man is up on a mountain, sitting cross-legged, if there are no seasonal changes, he will have a sense of time, but not as much as you will. And that's what the ancient hermits or supposed holy men, although I agree with Sylvia, I think that's a waste of a life to sit there motionless and hope he found some deeper meaning when the whole purpose of his coming here, or hers, was to become a person of motion.
Right, right.
Yes.
It seems that our body is what makes us time bound, because there are times, the only reason why we have to go to sleep is our body needs a rest, whereas
And you
our
have
mind,
to eat.
yeah, and we have to keep doing things, whereas our mind, I mean, there are times when I have to go to sleep, but my mind is still working on something, and I'll go to sleep, but I'll wake up and I didn't really get any rest because my mind was still going.
Yeah.
And so our minds are still sort of like on the other side.
Yes, and you're right. The physical body makes you time bound, but there's a reason for that. It's very much like I was saying to her, it's the guerrilla warfare number that you were trained to do, the survival number. But our life is so full of joy. I mean, you may not think that lectures and study and research and orientation, and then of course we as guides will go into our council, our Brotherhood of One, our master teachers, and we gain tremendous love, knowledge, or we'll go to the towers for a while, or we'll go to Nouveau and go on the outer rings and walk through those and visit our friends. Endless amount of knowledge that's constantly being fed. And you can always notice when somebody has gotten a great, as we say, the great gulp of knowledge, they just seem to shimmer more. We can just feel them just shimmering with it. It's such a, well, it's almost like being in the state of euphoria, especially when we're doing lectures and study, or epiphany, which of course gives us the, almost the orgasm, or the want of the orgasm to go on, the mental orgasm of all this.
So a fun point of you had mentioned about the great gulp of knowledge, and someone that will shimmer based on that newfound enlightenment experience for themselves. Yeah.
Have you ever kind of had an experience maybe similar to that, where you feel like you absorbed a lot and you're like, oh man, and you're just on a high about it?
Usually after the trances.
Yeah.
Because when we first heard them, not every trance session, but many trance sessions, as I described Novus philosophy, it was puzzle pieces. I get this nugget, and to me it would be like a gold nugget, but it's in the shape of a puzzle piece because it connects to something, and it connects to something else, and then I had a whole bunch of these puzzle pieces that were I thought were really cool nuggets of knowledge, and then all of a sudden I'd learn something else, and boom, all these 5 of these separate nugget pieces I had all were connected by this 6th piece, and they all connect. Wow, and so yeah. The more I, listen, learn, and well, for me now, it's talking about it and hearing other people. It's still going on with life lessons and using this knowledge to say, okay, what's the best path? No, the best path and a decision, that's mine to make. How do I move forward from here?
Absolutely. Yeah. There have been a couple times where I spent just all day, almost every wake, like every free hour that I had, just listening to this, listening to the trances. And I would say, like, after a couple months of doing that, just straight, I feel like I would just be on such like a buzz that it felt like I was like I couldn't even wear gold rings. Like that's how intense I felt like I was buzzing, because even wearing gold would I feel like I'd pass out. It was so intense, because I was just such a good
Absorbing, yes.
Yeah. Intense energy. Such intense energy.
Yeah, many of us after trances would be like, we'd have, it felt like we've had several cups of coffee afterwards. We're all, are mentally abuzzed and, what's the right, emotionally excited about what we learned. And so, yeah, this information does that.
Mm-hmm. Kristen says, yes, Kat, I do that very often. You're in congruency with the spirit world. Amen. Yeah. Yeah. I'm sure a lot of our listeners definitely can relate to just listening a ton to the trances and just having this buzz. Kristen says meditations. Ramona says, great topic today. Thank you very much. The first alphabet on Nova tonight is very interesting. It's where writing started. I'm not sure what that is. I'm not sure what that connects to. If you can say a little bit more, Gibson, I'd appreciate it. Jill says,
Nova is a PBS show.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And so it might be something related to that. If they're talking about the beginnings of alphabet.
Oh, Jill says, this is totally off topic, but where could you tell me, or in scripture it explains which day of the week should be kept as a Sabbath day of rest? Some say Saturday and some say Sunday. Ooh, I am not sure.
I'll let you. Okay, you're not, and that's I don't want to.
Sure.
I'm trying to have fun with this, not point at any. To my understanding, it's not. Yes, traditionally we host Sunday services on Sunday. The Sunday service on Sunday. But that was, based on tradition. Now, if you're referring to, you said referred to the Sabbath, that sounds like you're referring to, what is it? Judaism. And so, they do have them. I'm not sure, I'm not that familiar with it to know exactly when or how, or we have not designated some particular day to be a time off. But yes, we do encourage, just as psychologically, we do encourage have some time off once in a while.
Yes.
And meditate once in a while. That's a form of time off. So it's up to you. It gets back to what works for you, and seekers after our own truth.
Yeah. Jill says, my brother's convinced it's supposed to be Saturday. Well, maybe he's had a bunch of Jewish past lives before. My husband is Jewish, and he observes like a day of rest on Saturday as well, which I didn't know anything about Judaism until I met my husband. And so that's a definitely was a new tradition that I wasn't familiar with. So it's just, whatever. I mean, my perspective based on everything I know of Novus is whatever feels like is right for you and works for you is good. I've never heard them say like you should have like a day of rest, because I know, like, for instance, Francine tends to be more of a go with the flow sort of person. She's like whenever, like, just do something, but go with the flow, take it easy, don't get too anxious about things. Whereas Raheem is very like hit the ground running and just go. And Sylvia was very much also go to the point where she would break a foot and like physically have to take some rest. So, it's just whatever is right for the person, whatever is right for you and your family. Just that's
Yep.
that's my understanding from what I know of Novus, if that helps.
And more to be discovered.
And more to be discovered. Always. Always. I do want to say one thing though that I think is just endlessly interesting. Francine said that she and Sylvia agree that the idea of the holy man that spends their life in seclusion is a waste of a life. I think that's really, really fascinating because it really pushes against what a lot of we understand, like, about philosophers, and think like, oh, this person is, so holy. They don't talk to anybody, or they've taken a vow of silence. And from what we know that like every third life is a rest life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's different. Like I know that, like, I know one person who does have a rest life, is in a rest life right now. And even that being said, like, he's still a very like active person, and he just doesn't have a whole lot of problems, but he's still very, very active and participates in his life, even though it's a rest life. So it's just something to keep in mind. And you can have rest periods in your chart as well, where you're just like, I just need a break. I need a break. And if it's, or it just arrives, like the pandemic was a rest period for a lot of people. It was like forced upon us.
Seclusion, yeah.
Yeah, seclusion is like, well, nothing's happening now. What am I going to do? And it's like, everyone took up baking.
Sourdough bread. Yeah, that was another
Everyone
one.
took up baking. So, it's just something to keep in mind. I love the idea. I love that Novus like put forth this idea that pushes back against like this quietness that you have to be holy. Like, you have to be quiet in order to be holy. It's like Novus is like, no, you can be active, you can be loud if that is your
Right.
spirit.
Why
Flamboyant person at work, like,
why do we have hands? Why do we have ears to hear? We're designed to communicate, interact, procreate, as it were. Sylvia likes to use that expression, or that analogy. We were meant to interact. We were designed to interact, not sit and, great. We don't know that person's, the wise person that wants to sit on their own. We don't know what they're. You can't judge it, but we're saying no. Get up and do something. Help somebody. If
that's it. Just help somebody. That's
Yeah.
It's very simple. Just help somebody. It doesn't matter how you can help it. You can help foster a rescue animal. You can.
A silly anecdote is Sylvia once was at a lecture and saying, "Who here raise your hands if you meditate?" And everybody raises their hand. I recall she said something about who meditates for more than an hour, and a couple people did, and she's like, don't, or she kind of insulted them in the sense of, well, basically it was, get up and do something, get up and help somebody, and I think of it as, 10 minutes works great. If you need 30, great, 30, but 2 hours, is like too long. It's, that time's for, we have nighttime that we rest too. So,
Yeah.
it's, if you're doing it because well, it comes back to ego. I believe it comes back to ego, because if you were really practice it, yeah, I think it can be down to like 5 minutes, 10 minutes. People are different. Some people I know can get rejuvenated in 5 minutes, be up and on their way, and I like 15. Some people may want some more, great, but the longer you go, the more the harder it is, in my opinion, to come back out of it. So, and
Yeah.
and what's the goal? That's the thing. What's the goal? Are you there to try and be more spiritual? Well, great. Get out and help somebody. That's being more spiritual versus, meditating and, spending time quiet.
Yeah. I'll say two more things, and then maybe we can move on to our last segment. So, when I was younger, I went through a like an hour meditation course just to see what it was about. It was really interesting. I woke up once a week at the crack of dawn to go over to this Buddhist place to go through this Buddhist meditation practice, and it was very interesting, and I got a different relationship to myself and my senses, and it helped me with anxiety and with seeing the world in a more beautiful way. And so I took that, but it was once a week, and it was just a different thing to do, and I don't do that anymore. But oh gosh, what was the other thing I was going to say? Oh no, then it must not have been that important. One more thing though, something different. So mindfulness meditation is an evidence-based practice that we use in therapy to for people who have intractable anxiety and sometimes bad depression and sometimes super bad insomnia. It's good for a lot of different things. And so sometimes you can go through a course of meditation to get to a place where you have changed your relationship to something with yourself or with your surroundings, and then that frees you to move on with your life. And
it makes you thing. Yeah, it frees you
up so you don't have to do that anymore. Yeah.
To me, the basic premise is, and I don't know if anybody points this out, meditation is helping you focus. When you've got a lot of times anxiety, sometimes depression is from negative thinking. Well, guess what? You're snapping your mind out of those tapes. The tapes. Yeah. The negative tapes. You're snapping your mind out of it because someone's helping you focus, helping your mind stay focused instead of letting you focus on all those negative thoughts and the anxiety. It's like you're focusing your mind on what they're asking you to listen to. And that's getting back to discipline, self-discipline, and yoga. Yoga is helpful because it's not the the exercise is helpful, but it's the breathing. To my understanding, it's the breathing that when you focus on your breathing, you're teaching your mind to be disciplined and quiet while you're doing that. Focus on your breathing helps you ignore all the rest of that.
Fun fact, we were told that Jesus practiced yoga. Francine said that he learned yoga.
Yeah, I would have expected that since he got to travel to India. So.
Yeah. Cool.
Okay.
All right. Okay. So our last segment, we have discussion of our time versus God's time. Our full essence is here and now, but other times of ourselves are in God's time.
Cool.
Merlin and King Arthur were real people, and so we're going to keep listening to about them and about time and see where it goes.
Okay, enjoy. Take notes.
Yes.
In our studies and talks of time and whatever, I've been able to think about it and perceive the different ways that time can go from your side and be able to switch and branch out to any different thing, just like on a record. But the thing that pisses me off kind of is in the journey books, they relate it's related in certain parts as sequencing, life after life after life, yet if you can have them all at any time and pick them up, it's like saying that something is happening in a row, but it's not happening. It's sequencing itself, yet it's not sequencing itself. So if this is all jumbled together in one big giant
It's
ball.
not though. It's not though. Your record is a small circle within a huge circle. Please think of yourself as everyone in this room has a little record inside a larger record. And those records are all revolving at the same time. So don't ever think it's jumbled because it's very self-contained. And so your record is individual from anyone else, like your fingerprints or your DNA. Your record is individually yours, and it only may mean something to you, although other people can access it if you allow them to. But in that, all these millions and myriads of all these little records is the giant record, which of course is God. And he encompasses that in his circle. So it's not jumbled, it's very itemized, it's very replete with specific knowledge. There's nothing more perfected than that.
Could I add to that?
Yes.
A little bit? Arlo, let me add a little bit to that, because, man, I've wrestled with this forever and I've never gotten it. But some of the helpful hints from Halloween along the way include this. Yes, all your lives are concurrently going on. That makes me nuts. Nuts. But the realization has to come that you don't have that privileged viewpoint. Guess who does? God has that privileged viewpoint. So from your perspective, and this is really what Einstein tried to talk about, relativistic frames. From your perspective, your bang needle is right here, right now.
Oh yeah, you're full of it. We had some years ago, I think even before you were born, we had a discussion in one of these classes in which the Seth material had come out. And someone had challenged Raheem, which is not the best person to challenge, in the fact that they believed that only part of our essence was here. The rest of it was scattered throughout all these ribbons of time. And Raheem very definitively, which we have been taught we know to be true, said no, full essence is here. But the other essences that you can pick up is in God's now. I know that might seem more complicated, but you can access it. Very much like if you were to watch a movie of, let's say, of when you were born in this life. Or you go back and your mother shows you pictures of when you were a little boy and your first tricycle or whatever. You say, oh, now I remember that. You're sort of living again in some minute way that little boy that was. And that's how you do it here. Now, when you come to our side, if you want to go back and access that, it's very much like Raheem at one point was doing some research and got caught in a Mongolian war. I mean, he went into Akashic Records and actually got caught in a physical stampede. Now, it didn't hurt him, but it must have been frightening because once you open that door to those records, they're all there, which makes it very divinely wondrous is if we want to go back to the time of Merlin, who was a real person, or King Arthur, who was a real person, or the time of the Crusades, we can go back. Now, we don't assume, unless we live that, but we can go back. It's almost like a spirit that is observing and viewing. Yes.
The difference in between going back into the Akashic Records once we're on the other side, wanting to, let's say, preview an Egyptian time, that in comparison to looking in the Hall of Wisdom, what would the difference then be?
You would be living it.
Living it is in the Akashic Records, where the Hall of Wisdom would just
You would just be reading it. You would just be, you could view it, you could scan it, but it would be very like instead of, if you went to a movie and you're watching it, but what if all of a sudden one of the characters pulled you into it? Yeah. Now you are now participating in it.
And Francine, when you say we take notes, let's say at lecture, physiologically, I always try, I know we're not in these bodies, but that's the hardest part for me to attain, of what do we, when we look at each other, what we see. And how do we take notes? Pencil, paper, different?
Well, we have something that we call the liquefier, and it just flows from us. Most of us don't do that. It's usually people that come over when they've been on, your side for a while. They seem to feel that they can't increase their brain power enough unless they, do the notes. And you can always tell the people who've just gotten back from Earth that are taking the notes. But most of the time we don't take notes. It's an instantaneous recollection, photographic, and recall is total.
So you retain everything that you
Absolutely, recall. And it's like anything else, it's like a muscle. Is the more you learn, of course, see where you in this plane of existence, the more you learn, sometimes the more you lose. And you really only retain through your life. I know you might find this to be miserably depressing, but 15%. Where what we learn, we really retain 100% of what we learn.
Correct to say that in the illumination of time and space is when you have control of yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely, you have no control. You are controlled by your atmosphere, your time, your job, your keeping your body clean, your habits, your eating, your sleeping. You are not in control of anything. I think that's why Sylvia was trying to say yesterday. She was getting a little bit into this. She always kind of scoops me, and I don't tell her. But when you're in the body, you're out of control. It's the aging process. It's truly coming into this life is of the bravest of the brave. It's a total surrender. While we are in spirit, we're in total control. We can go anywhere we want. We can do anything we want. We're not bound by time or space. We're not bound by sickness or illness or tiredness or clothes or having to fix ourselves up. None of that is. No. I can't go because I have a dinner party. That's not. No. Yes.
You mentioned something about this meditation that they were doing where the beings were all linked in circles with the tone and stuff. Is that the creation meditation where it's actually the tone frequency at the center is relating to the outside?
And then they resonate back.
And it's all the way down the line, and it's actually a recreation of the crystal lattice structure.
Looks like a DNA circle the way
so it's the crystal lattice structure, and it's almost like our lives where we're focused on ourselves, but yet we are out into everything.
We are, and if you really wanted to look at all humanity, you're like a giant DNA.
So the beings are not only in circles, but they're almost like globes. And they're linked.
And sometimes they make very intricate, configurations.
You mentioned us, each one having our own circle.
Yes.
And then you also mentioned that God has his circle. Is that outside of our circle?
Yes. It's a giant circle, and all of your little circles, all your little cogs are going on inside of that circle.
So, and then probably that circle is involved in another circle.
Oh, absolutely. Infinite.
So we don't need to worry about that. Now, as far as dimensions go, if you take a point and pull it, then you have like one dimension, and then you take that line and pull it sideways, and you have
another
2 dimensions, and then you pull that, and you have 3 dimensions. Now, that's where ours ends, but somehow you pull it, and that creates the next dimension.
Well, no, you have no top on it. I know that's what it says. You see, in your geometric form, you always have closure.
There we are. So, did you get it? Do you have total understanding of time and how where we are and where it is? And oh my gosh, so much. And poor Francine and poor us, we're trying to figure this out and understand. And it's like, well, you know what? I would say ask your guide to maybe give you a sense of it. Do a meditation, have a dream, go to the other side, and see if they can help you experience that feeling on the other side, and see if that makes a connection for you here. It's I still don't. It's just I've also what has helped is I'm not so concerned about time passing. Um, I'm not worried about when, Sylvia's talked about when this planet's going to end. Francine has talked about it. I'm not so worried about it. It's going to be, but we'll, on a soul level, we'll all still be, we still exist. So um, um, it's helpful in that sense of relieving the soul if the soul has garnered a fear of annihilation or a fear of death or of anything like that. That has helped.
Mm-hmm.
Sending a letter?
No,
Teasing.
but a couple people have been talking about Arthur and Merlin in chat and just have been curious. So Francine talks about Merlin in Messages from Spirit 4, episode 13, which is in the archives. So it's an episode that has already aired in the past. Also, if you are curious about this particular topic, the Bloodline of the Holy Grail talks about is research that has been done by Lawrence Gardner, and Francine has talked about this book as being solid, and in it, in the back, there is entire genealogies that he's put together, and actually, according to his genealogy, there's only like 5 generations between Jesus and like King Arthur. Like very, very, very close to the genealogy of Jesus. So if anyone is curious about that, you can pick up some of these books in like a used bookstore. Super interesting, but yeah, it does. I wanted to like actually verify it, but yeah, it's only like 5 generations. And he talks about how like this entire book is like how he figures out like all of the research that goes into all of this. And there are extensive genealogies, but yeah, super interesting. King Arthur, he talks about Mordred, Percival, Lancelot, and they are all just a couple generations removed from Jesus. Super interesting.
Fun.
So if anyone's interested, there it is.
You know what we lost when we switched website servers?
Huh, what's that?
Our reading list.
Oh.
Yeah, I just realized that. I'm like, hello? What happened to it? So that's another fun project that we need to I want to get reestablished.
Interesting.
Several of them led to links to Amazon, and sort of gave us some accolades when you go to like many people do. Anyway, but yeah, I just realized that's gone. We gotta figure out how to get that back up again for people. Because the original book I think is on that reading list, Holy Blood, Holy Grail. Yes, that one. That's on
fascinating
the reading list.
read.
Yeah.
Fascinating read. Absolutely fascinating.
Cool. Was that the end? That was the end of that. All right. So now we've got any fun, exciting comments that people are just like jumping up and down, chewing at the bit about, or do we move?
People are people are talking about books, and let's see here. Yeah, a book list available somewhere would be nice, I think. Just as future reading. And Carrie says, OMG, Kat, you just made my night. Had a bad day today, and I'm getting the book ASAP. All right. Well,
cool.
Enjoy and have fun. I thought that was so fascinating and mind-blowing. And I mean, it just goes it just goes down like all of these different like
Pathways.
Jesus' bloodline is
Yeah.
fascinating. And it continues to go all the way down. And so basically it's like the Holy Grail, when we, like, everyone thinks of it as being a cup, but actually it's literally Jesus's bloodline. And that's why the Crusaders were so, excuse me, not the Crusaders, the Templars, and different other groups were so, like, that's why they were so protective. Like, yes, they were protective of Mother God, but they were also really, really trying to protect Jesus's bloodline and make sure that whoever that bloodline was around and safe. So
Cool. Anything
cool.
else?
All right. That's it.
All right. Now it's a good time for meditation. For those of you that want to participate, find yourself a comfortable place to sit with your feet flat on the floor and your palms upward on your lap to receive that wonderful healing energy. And for those of you that need to pay attention to what you're doing, don't pay attention to us, but by all means come back and listen to these wonderful meditations in the on-demand when it's appropriate. But for the rest of us, we're going to find a nice place to sit upright, whether it's on a chair or a favorite place, with your feet flat on the floor and your hands upward on your thighs. Now, take 3 deep breaths to start relaxing the mind and body. And now close your eyes when you're ready.
Reinventing yourself. Imagine a purple flame right in the middle of your solar plexus. Ask for the grace of God to start coming down through the very top of your head, as you are in an inverted pyramid. The bottom is closed off to negativity and the top is open to spirituality and grace. I want to give you a code word now. The word blue. During the week, anytime you get agitated, say the word blue. The code word will relax you, calm you down, and make you feel at peace and unstressed. Close your eyes and take yourself back to age 10. You don't need a special day, but you could choose one if you wish. Christmas would be nice. Did you make any resolutions? What happened to them? Was there anything you wish you had done? Perhaps something you thought you had to do. Whatever it is, release it now. Let it go. This age is very pivotal. It is when your individuality begins to rise up. At age 10, what did you look like? How did you act? What were you doing? Were you bright? Did you act stupid? Did you feel good, bad, guilt-ridden, scrupulous, frightened, or even abused? Did you care about things, or did you feel apathetic? It doesn't matter. Release it all. The only expectation to keep is that you are going to fulfill your theme. Keep your spirit guide around you and be loyal, grateful, loving, and caring. Cleanse yourself now. Take yourself to any age and release the expectations that you had at that time. Take some time and relive each age. Release any illness that started, any heaviness or load you began to carry. Let go of any feeling that you may have hurt someone.
They wrote that contract with you. The road of your own experience has been long, but it also can be joyful.
And now, on the count of 3, bring yourself all the way up. 1, 2, 3. Fully alert. Now we're back.
All right.
That was a fun rejuvenation release. I got some fun age appropriate, and recalling that age 10 is a pivotal moment for most young people, and was like, oh, put that in the sandbox in the golden the golden cage.
Yes, absolutely. Ah,
What are we doing? I'm trying to remember where we got to go next here, and it tells
we
me
say a
that
thank yous.
oh, thank yous. All right. So if you have any questions about what we shared, feel free to post in chat or email us questions to kat@novus.org or tom@novus.org. Yes, we appreciate the listeners, both live and on demand. Show your appreciation for New Spirit Radio by sharing, promoting, liking, subscribing, and even donating on the website. Check out our websites, novus.org, sylviabrowne.com, chrisrightnow.com. You'll find us on Facebook at Society of Novus Spiritus. You'll look for Sylvia Browne Group and New Spirit Radio Show. Actually, that one's going to disappear too because we're here on Society of Novus Spiritus. Yes, and there are many study groups too. YouTube, you'll find us at Society of Novus Spiritus, and you'll find Chris Dufresne at Psychic Awareness. Let's see, study groups. If you want to get something, how does that go? If you want to donate and get something in return, start a study group. You'll learn more about our philosophy, and you'll get access to monthly Sunday service CD and a fun newsletter. If you want to get something and donate, then you can go to Amazon Smile and tell them that you want Society of Novus Spiritus to receive some of your contributions. Let's see, church services, watch for Sunday services on Facebook. There's one coming up this Sunday, as a matter of fact. Facebook and YouTube. We'll hear another classic from Larry and Sylvia. If you want to participate in a live special Zoom service, put your email into the website and Reverend Ellen Schloss will send you an invitation. Let's see, now's that time I told you to watch for the novena. For new people, this is a special prayer asking for assistance in various forms. I'll make sure that you go through this together. But the basic phrase is, we're going to say this phrase 3 times together. And it doesn't matter when you're listening, whether it's live or on demand. We're putting our energy out, and it's going to work together. So the phrase is, I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. So we're going to say that 3 times together, and then after each group, what's the right word? After each session of saying, the phrase 3 times, I'll tell you what to stop and ask for. And visualize all of us together. We're all holding hands together in a large room. So that's that's getting us to add all our synergy. Yeah. Putting all our energy together. So we can get started here. Ready? I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, ask for things for yourself. Okay? I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, ask for things for others. Okay, and the last one. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. I am God. I am part of God. I am God. All things are possible because I am God. Now, picture our light going out like a beacon for others seeking this spiritual knowledge, and that, they either find us or find our website, and, we're able to share with them. Wow, it says here, show your appreciation to Francine and Rahim for researching all of this wonderful knowledge. And of course, Sylvia for coming to this insane asylum of the universe to start this movement, and for showing us how to get some peace of mind and grace while we're here. And Asna for helping and protecting us. And Father God for providing the most prestigious school for us to experience, learn, and satisfy our unique spark of curiosity. Of course, Bob Ingold for helping with the graphics and getting our audio organized. Sammy and Javon for the wonderful intro-outro music. Writing, setting up for the show and hosting is MIT Catherine Taylor. Editing, technical direction, and hosting is Reverend Tom Bigley. And now we got, it says here, a prayer by Sylvia, which I gotta find it. Wow. Oh, that one. There we go. All right. Here we go.
Summer Solstice Prayer for Evening. Dearest Asna, Queen of the Universe, Goddess that rules in the sight of God, our Father, keep your mantle of protection around us. Keep us forever in your heart, as you are in ours. Keep this Gnostic movement pure and safe, so it may grow and spread your name. Help us to keep the nurturing love that you have ordained. In doing so, dearest Mother, we can help the duality of the Father, God, and Mother Asna to bring us our God-centered Christ consciousness. If we are in darkness, Mother, give us light. If we are in sickness, give us health. If we are in fear, give us courage. If we are alone, give us love. Above all, Mother, give us peace and plenty of protection from our enemies. We ask this in your blessed name. Amen.
And the candle blew out, but Kat's going to tell us.
We love you very much. Jesus loves you. God loves you. And we will see you
For
next
so
week.
long we have ignored you, as if you were not there. All praise went to the Father. We were so unaware that through the years you've shed your tears for all the pain we bear. Oh, Asna, how we love you. Place no one above you. Always thinking You've planted every blade of grass, creator of the stars. And when I'm feeling down and out, you mend my broken heart. So now I sing this song of thanks because of who you are. Oh, Asna, how we love you. Place no one above you. Always thinking of you. Bless your name. You are Mother God. You're more than a friend to me. You give me everything I need. In your peace you hold me tight. You are the bringer of the light. With no fear we boldly stand, because you hold this world in your hands. You are the truth, you are the hope and love we never knew. Oh, Asna, how we love you. Place no one above you. Always thinking of you. Bless your name. You are Mother God. Mother